How do you feel when you scroll through your social media feed? Sometimes it seems like everyone is living perfect lives, full of achievements and happy moments, doesn't it? It's easy to look at these images and ask yourself, why isn't my life like this? That's the silent impact of social media on our self-esteem. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Deep down, we know that social networks are like shop windows. Nobody shows the ugly parts, the daily struggles, or the insecurities. Yet we find ourselves comparing our reality with the filtered version of other people's lives. And that's where the problem begins, when we let these comparisons shape the way we see and feel ourselves. Imagine your life as a book full of good and bad chapters. Now imagine that you only get to see the best parts of other people's books. Sounds unfair, doesn't it? But that's exactly what social networks do. They show us an edited, perfect version. However, it's important to understand that this is only a fraction of reality, and by comparing ourselves, we end up distorting our own perception. And when we spend so much time looking at these shop windows, we forget to appreciate our own achievements, big or small. It feels as if we're always chasing something unattainable, something we're not even sure what it is. This creates emptiness and a constant feeling of insufficiency. I've been there myself. Maybe you have too. And the worst thing is that it seems impossible to escape this cycle because in the digital age, social networks are everywhere. Every notification is an invitation to compare ourselves once again. And every like we don't receive is like a confirmation that we're not good enough. But deep down, what are we looking for when we compare ourselves to others? Is it validation? Is it to feel that we are seen and that we matter? Or maybe it's just the desire to belong to a group, to feel that we're part of something bigger. When you think about it, you realize that it's not just about the perfect photo or the number of followers, it's about how it all makes you feel. So what's the dilemma? The dilemma is that by trapping ourselves in this cycle of comparison and validation, we are putting our self-esteem in the hands of others. We're letting the way others see us, or the way we think they see us, define who we are. And when we do that, we lose control of our own narrative when we're immersed in social media. It's common to believe that these comparisons are normal and inevitable. It seems that everyone around us is happy, achieving incredible things, traveling to exotic places or reaching goals we didn't even know existed. It's as if we're watching a magnified version of everything we don't have. But the truth is that this comparison can be much more damaging than we realize. Social media works like a distorted mirror, reflecting only what people choose to show. And what they choose to show is almost always the best, the most beautiful, the most successful. We end up forgetting that behind that photo, that perfect smile, there is a real person with challenges, insecurities, and problems just like anyone else. But when we don't see this reality, our mind starts to believe that we are at a disadvantage, that everyone else has more interesting and successful lives than we do. At this point, the pressure to fit into this standard of perfection increases. The desire to be seen, validated, and accepted becomes a constant craving, and every like we receive becomes a small temporary relief, as if it were a quick dose of happiness. But soon after, we're back to the same cycle of comparison and frustration. This is the moment when many of us begin to question our self-esteem and the value we place on ourselves. Think of social media as an arena where we're constantly comparing ourselves to other competitors, even if we're not aware of it. Every like is a point. Every comment is a vote of approval. When we don't receive these signals, our self-esteem begins to suffer, as if every negative interaction or lack of one is proof that we're not enough. Now, let's explore a new perspective. What if the way we're using social media wasn't the only way? What if, instead of comparing ourselves, we started looking at these platforms as an opportunity for learning and real connection, rather than a source of validation? The bottom line is that social media itself is neither good nor bad. It all depends on how we choose to use it. If we look at it as a tool to inspire us, to learn from real stories, or even to connect more authentically with people who share the same values as us, perhaps we can turn this experience into something positive. The problem, then, is not necessarily the platform, but the way we allow it to affect our perception. Let's think of a simple analogy. Imagine you're in a museum, surrounded by works of art. Each piece is unique, representing something important to the artist. Some may be vibrant and full of life, while others are more subtle and introspective. Now, if you look at each work expecting them all to be the same or to have the same value, you'll miss the true meaning of each one. It's the same with social media. Each of us is a different work, with our own journey, our own struggles, and victories. Comparing our reality with that of others is like expecting all works to have the same format and message. In the middle of this process, there is a turning point. By realizing that comparison is a choice and that we have the power to redefine how we use social media, we can regain control. This doesn't mean that the desire to be seen or accepted will disappear, but that we can learn to put our self-esteem on a different footing than simply what we see on a screen. Now, with this new perspective, the challenge is to look beyond superficial comparison and start seeing social networks as a space for learning and connecting. We can choose to follow people who really inspire us, those who share real struggles and authentic stories. In doing so, we begin to shape our online environment in a healthier way, where we surround ourselves with positive influences rather than focusing solely on unattainable standards. It's important to recognize that in order to change the way social media affects our self-esteem, we need to take a conscious approach. The first step is to take control of the way we use these platforms. Instead of being passive spectators, we can become active and selective users. How about starting by cleaning out your feed? Challenge yourself to only follow profiles that really add value to your life, that inspire you and bring content that contributes to your personal growth and well-being. Another practical tip is to limit the time you spend on social media. Studies show that spending endless hours browsing the feed can negatively affect our mental health. Try setting specific times to check your networks and, for the rest of the day, focus on activities that really connect you with the present moment and that don't depend on the approval of others. It's amazing how small adjustments can bring about big changes in your mood and the way you see yourself. Also, remember to seek support outside the virtual world. Get involved in activities that connect you with people in the real world who share the same values as you and who can offer genuine support and encouragement. By strengthening these real connections, you'll realize that validation doesn't have to come from likes or followers, but from relationships that have a positive and meaningful impact on your life. The real key to regaining your self-esteem is to rediscover your value beyond the digital world. Think about all your qualities, skills, and achievements that don't depend on likes or comments. Write them down if you have to. These are the things that really define who you are. Use social media to express these qualities authentically, without seeking approval or comparison. When you take control of your narrative, you transform the way others see you, and more importantly, you transform the way you see yourself. So, what's your choice? Continue comparing yourself to a standard that doesn't exist, or reconnect with who you really are. The decision is in your hands. Remember, self-esteem is built from the inside out, and by cultivating this awareness, you begin to develop a solid and true foundation. As we wrap up this reflection, it's important to remember that social networks are just a tool. You can choose how to use them. They can be a space for comparison and frustration, or a place to share, learn, and grow. And that choice starts now. Try making a simple change, perhaps redefining what you expect from the digital world or how you react to the posts you see. Small changes can make a big difference. Finally, I invite you to disconnect a little and reconnect with the world around you. Take a walk, talk to a friend, or simply enjoy your own company. The true essence of who you are doesn't lie in filters or likes, but in the simple, authentic moments you live off screen. And if this content made sense to you, share your experiences in the comments. How about creating a space where we can talk about how social networks affect our lives and, together, find ways to use them in a healthier way? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive notifications of new videos like this one. Let's build this community of support and self-knowledge, step by step. Remember, your self-esteem is too valuable to be handed over to algorithms and numbers. Cultivate it intentionally and live life with authenticity.